Last night, when that familiar melody rang on my phone, I saw the name Brandon on the screen. That name had been enough to change the rhythm of my heart for 30 years. In the past, I would have put down my glass of Chardonnay, lowered the volume on the TV, and answered with a, "Hey, sweetie, is everything okay?" But last night, I let that call go to voicemail. I continued sitting in my rocking chair on the porch. As the cool Connecticut autumn breeze hit my face, I watched the phone persist in vibrating. That vibration was no longer a sign of love. It was the sound of the heavy burden I had carried on my back for years, of unpaid credit card statements and unending demands. And I had left that burden exactly 3 months ago, at a Wells Fargo branch downtown. My name is Evelyn. I am 69 years old. I am a retired teacher. I dedicated my life to books, silence, and most of all, to my son Brandon. When my husband Richard died in a traffic accident before Brandon had even received his acceptance letter to Yale, I made a promise to myself. I will make him forget his father's absence by making him live the American dream. What a big, dangerous American lie that turned out to be. To keep him from feeling his father's absence, I also kept him from feeling the financial realities of life. It took me exactly 10 years to realize that while trying to protect him, I had actually turned him into a financial cripple. My story might sound familiar to many parents living in the suburbs. That toxic kind of love they call helicopter parenting. Maybe you are that parent too. The self-sacrificing figure who pays off their child's student loans or gives the down payment for a house just so they don't get stressed. It all started when Brandon married Tiffany. Tiffany, her Instagram profile is flawless, her LinkedIn profile is ambitious, but her character, how should I put it, is a bit filtered. At first, when she called me mom at Thanksgiving dinners, I thought she was being sincere. Of course, back then, the weekend getaways to the Hamptons and the Nordstrom shopping sprees were going through my platinum card. "Evelyn, would you mind buying that vintage Eames chair as a wedding gift? It would look so good in our loft." "Of course, Brandon." "Mom, my card limit is maxed out. Could you buy our plane tickets for the vacation?" "Of course, sweetie, as long as you're happy." "Mom, the insurance for the Tesla is due. The bonus didn't come in this month. If you handle it, we'll Venmo you." Those Venmo notifications never came. Years went by. I always postponed my own needs. I continued driving the same Toyota Auris for 12 years because Tiffany needed a new Range Rover for her realtor image. The kitchen cabinets in my house were falling apart. I didn't change them because Brandon needed to be a member of that expensive golf club to do networking. I consoled myself by saying, "It's okay. They are younger. Let them have what they want. I'm old now anyway." But a human being, even if they don't need money, needs dignity. The moment I had finally had enough happened at the end of last month. It was Brandon's 35th birthday. They had organized a dinner at that steakhouse, the most ostentatious venue in the city center. They invited me too. "Evelyn, be there at 7. The valet gets very busy. Come with an Uber," Tiffany said on the phone. Look at her, giving instructions as if she were speaking to her assistant. I had dressed up quite a bit for my son's birthday. I wore my nicest clothes. I had even slung the Prada bag I forced myself to buy last year over my shoulder. There was excitement inside me. After all, it was my son's birthday. Maybe this time it would be different. Maybe this time I would be at the head of the table not just as a checkbook, but as a grandmother-to-be. When I got to the restaurant, they were already sipping their martinis. At the table were Brandon, Tiffany, and 2 friends from Tiffany's real estate office, Jessica and Tyler. When Brandon saw me, he raised the glass in his hand, said, "Hey Mom, you made it," and didn't even stand up to hug me. Tiffany was busy shooting an Instagram story. She just waved. I was seated at the farthest corner of the table, that blind spot where the conversation couldn't reach. All night long, the only things they talked about were monetary issues. No one asked, "How are you, Evelyn? How is your book club going? Only, as the waiter was slicing that expensive tomahawk steak, Brandon turned to me. Mom, this meat is a bit fatty. It might not be good for your cholesterol. Why don't you have the Caesar salad? It's lighter anyway. They laughed. Tyler grinned with those artificial white teeth. I smiled too. That typical, it's okay, sweetie smile. Towards the end of the meal, I got up to powder my nose. As I was walking down the restroom corridor, I heard Tiffany whispering with Jessica. Their voices had risen a bit under the influence of that expensive wine. God, Tiffany, your mother-in-law is so old-fashioned. Don't you get bored with the woman? Jessica asked. Tiffany's answer was like an ice pick stabbing my heart. I will never forget that moment, that tone of voice, for as long as I live. Evelyn, she said. Oh, don't ask, honey. She's a total boomer cliché. Boring. Constantly talking about PBS documentaries. But what can you do? We put up with it. The woman is literally our angel investor. She's paying the mortgage on that suburban house we're living in right now. And she's paying the bill tonight, too. We're just playing along until the pool renovation at the summer house is finished. I say, Evelyn, Evelyn, and she feels useful. Otherwise, who would put up with that old woman's drama? Jessica's laughter. I froze right there. It was as if boiling water had been poured over my head. My 69 years of life, the life Richard and I built, the overtime I worked for Brandon's private schools, all of it melted away inside that phrase, angel investor. I wasn't a mother to them. I was an ATM to them, a fund to be exploited, an asset to be liquidated when the job was done. I didn't cry at that moment. Strangely, I felt like an American Declaration of Independence had been signed inside me. I didn't enter the restroom. I turned back. I walked to the table. When Tiffany saw me, she immediately put on that fake realtor smile. Evelyn, we ordered cheesecake, and since you have sugar issues, we asked for a fruit plate for you. I picked up my bag. My migraine is flared up. Kids, I said. My voice was ice cold. Bon appetit to you. Brandon was surprised. Mom, the check didn't come yet? You had the black card. I looked into his eyes. In those blue eyes, I searched for his father's honesty, but I only saw the dull glint of Wall Street greed. The check, I said, smiling slightly. Like Tiffany said, I'm a bit of a boomer, son. I forgot my wallet at home, but I'm sure you'll handle it. After all, you are successful young adults. Tiffany's face had suddenly turned white. I knew their card limits were maxed out and that they were living that luxury life, thanks to me. I turned my back and walked out without a care. I heard Brandon calling out, Mom. Wait, from behind, but I didn't turn back. That night, instead of an Uber, I took the first bus that came and went home, watching those lit-up streets from the window. And for the first time, I felt not like a victim, but like a decision-maker. My first order of business the next morning was going to the bank. The customer representative, Mr. Miller, knew me. Good morning, Mrs. Harper. I transferred to Mr. Brandon's account, he asked. No, I said. Quite the opposite. I want to cancel the supplementary card I gave to Brandon. Also, the automatic payment instructions I gave for his mortgage installment, vehicle leasing, club membership. All of them. Cancel all of them. Mr. Miller adjusted his glasses. All of them, Mrs. Harper? Are you sure? This will ruin their credit score. All of them, I said. And yes, let it ruin it. Maybe they need to start from scratch. Then I called my lawyer. I changed my will. I arranged for that beach house they loved so much to be donated to a foundation for orphan children. When I got home that day, I made myself a large glass of iced tea, and I started waiting. It didn't take long for the hurricane to hit. First, the notification started coming. Mom, I'm stuck at the checkout at Whole Foods. The card says declined. Is there a problem? Brandon. Evelyn, my gym membership has been suspended. I was humiliated at the reception. Can you call immediately? Tiffany. I didn't answer. In the late afternoon, my doorbell rang. They were banging on the door like a SWAT team had raided the place. Brandon was wearing a mask of rage and Tiffany a mask of tearfulness. She had probably let her mascara run on purpose. I opened the door but kept the screen door closed. "Mom, what are you doing?" Brandon shouted. "You ruined us. I had to leave my groceries with the cashier. Why did you cancel the cards? Have you gone senile?" "Tiffany," I said, ignoring Brandon. I fixed my gaze on my daughter-in-law. "I really love the story you told Jessica at the restaurant last night. You know, that angel investor story." Tiffany's filled lips trembled. "Evelyn, you heard?" "Every word," I said. "And I thought you're right. I really was a bad investor. I was funding a venture that was constantly losing money. And the Wall Street rule is clear. Honey, cut your losses." I cut the funding. Brandon intervened, his voice panicked. "Mom, are you doing this because of some gossip? We are your family. Are you going to throw us out on the street? There's the mortgage, the leasing. We were going to Aspen next month." "That is your problem," I said. I checked the lock on the screen door. "I am 69 years old, Brandon. I don't know how much of my life is left, but I will not spend the remainder for people who love my money, but for people who love me. I'm going to eat that money myself. Maybe I'll go to those places where those boring documentaries are filmed, like Tiffany said. A safari in Africa, for instance." "You can't do this," Tiffany screeched. "You have to take care of us. We are going to give you a grandchild. Are you going to send your grandchild to public school?" Here it was, the classic American trump card. Private school and the grandchild. "If you have a child," I said calmly, "I will love him as his grandmother. I'll bake cookies. I'll take him to the park. But paying for that child's college fund, private school, and piano lessons is his father's and mother's duty, not mine. We will never call you again." Brandon threatened. "You'll be alone on Thanksgiving. You'll rot in a nursing home." "I am already alone, Brandon," I said. "You haven't called or asked how I was for years. You only contact me when you need money. I have been alone for years. Now, at least, I am alone in my own home by my own rules." I slammed the main door in their faces. The first few days were hard for me. I had taken a big step in my own way. I had officially turned my back on my own son. But that gold-digger wife of his deserved it. A week later, I did something for myself for the first time in my life. I went to a travel agency and signed up for a tour of Turkey and Istanbul, something I had always wanted to see. A solo eat and travel tour. I made many friends on that tour. I met strong women who had been condemned to loneliness like me, but stood tall. I met Linda, for instance, from Texas. She had experienced similar things. She told me, "Welcome, Evelyn. Welcome to the Second Spring Club." While I was enjoying a ferry ride on the Bosphorus in Istanbul, insufficient funds notifications weren't coming to my phone. I was just taking pictures of the view and uploading them to Facebook. Meanwhile, things had gotten messy on the Brandon and Tiffany front. I was hearing from the neighbors, from Mrs. Higgins. The Range Rover was gone. Brandon had been kicked out of that expensive golf club. Most importantly, they had been forced to move out of that flashy house and into an apartment in a cheaper part of town. A month later, Brandon called. I didn't answer. 2 months later, Tiffany called, crying. I didn't answer. 3 months later, that is, today, Brandon came to my door. He wasn't wearing his expensive suit or flashy watch. He was just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. His face had sunk. That successful businessman air had deflated. "Mom," he said when the door opened. His voice was hoarse. "Can we talk?" I let him inside. We sat in the kitchen. Instead of the clubs he went to for networking, he was in his mother's kitchen now. "Tiffany left me," he said suddenly. "We're getting divorced." I wasn't surprised. When the money ran out, Tiffany's love and her Instagram posts had run out too, evidently. That gold-digging scum. "I'm sorry," I said. It was a lie. I wasn't sorry. I was only sorry that my son had to learn this lesson so harshly. I struggled a lot, Mom, Brandon said. He was looking at his coffee. I sold the car. It wasn't enough. I moved into a small apartment. It turns out life is so expensive. It turns out what a huge sacrifice you were making. I didn't hold his hand. I didn't stroke his head. I just listened. Did you come to ask me for money, Brandon? I asked clearly. He lifted his head. His eyes had filled up. No, he said. Then he paused. I can't lie, the thought crossed my mind. I said, Mom will fix it. But when I got to the door, your look that night came to my mind. You were right, Mom. We used you like an ATM. And when Tiffany left, I realized that you were the only woman who loved me for being me. And I treated you like customer service. He pulled a crumpled envelope out of his pocket. He put it on the table. This is the money I saved from my overtime last month. It's comical compared to what you spent, but it's symbolic. I wanted to buy you a gift with money I earned myself, but I realized I had even forgotten what you like. So I brought the money. Maybe you can spend it on that Istanbul tour. I looked at the envelope. There was probably $200 in it. But that money was more valuable to me than the hundreds of thousands of dollars of mine I had spent on Brandon until today. Because that money was real. Take your money, Brandon, I said. Pay your lawyer with it. Divorce is expensive. But Mom, take it, I said. I don't want money from you. Instead of that spoiled child, I want to see the man who can stand on his own 2 feet. I smiled. This time it wasn't that it's okay smile. It was a smile of genuine pride. And today, I said, I see that man in front of me. A bit battered, but real. Brandon got up and hugged me. This time there was no smell of I need money in that hug. He just smelled like my son. Will you stay for dinner? I asked. I made meatloaf. But let me tell you from the start, there is no wine. There is iced tea. We laughed. For the first time, we truly laughed. My story doesn't end here. Actually, it's just beginning. I still haven't opened that tap. Brandon is still paying debts, going to work by subway. Sometimes I see him struggling, but I don't interfere. Because I know that the American dream isn't something that is inherited, it is something that is earned. As for Tiffany, I saw on LinkedIn, she found herself a new investor. She's living in Florida. Good luck. Me. I signed up for a Spanish course last week. I plan to go to Costa Rica next winter. With Linda. I spend my own money on my own life. And believe me, the taste of that cheap filter coffee you drink with money you earned yourself is much better than that expensive champagne you treat someone else to. If you also feel like the family bank sponsor or savior in your life, I have one piece of advice for you. Close the branch. Unplug the ATM. Let them call you mean or stingy. Those who love you for your wallet will walk out of your life. Let them go. Those who remain, they are your real family. My name is Evelyn. I am no longer a bank. I am just Evelyn. And this is worth a fortune. Thank you for listening.